It's no secret that we share our lives in the entire world that we live in with various animals, fish, insects, etc. We observe their behaviors, especially when we visit them in zoos in their natural habitats, and many of us even keep them as pets, living in the same environments as we do. But have you ever wondered what it would be like if it were possible to actually transform into and become an animal in addition to being a human? This idea has been explored in many forms in the media, and in this video I will be sharing my thoughts on it. For as long as I can remember, I have always been a big fan of the idea of transformation, physically changing into anything I want, whether it's an animal, another person, or even into an object. We all have days that make us wish that we could be anyone or anything but our normal selves, especially when our days get depressing and stressful, often seen as a means to escape from our problems. While it's not possible in our natural world for this to happen, I have always found it very pleasing and interesting to think about, sparking my imagination. But what is it about transformations that make us fascinated with it as a whole? As I see it, when one gets transformed into an animal or anything else that he or she was not born as, it gives a person a new perspective on the world, as well as seeing the world through the statue of another living being. Being transformed into something smaller than a human being, such as an insect, for instance, it presents a huge host of challenges for the person. Shrinking to a very small size makes the world much bigger and in some ways much more perilous and challenging to get around. As an insect, the person adjusts to traveling around by flying, crawling on multiple legs, and even slithering with no limbs at all. The challenge comes from experiencing the difficulties that insects face, such as finding food and finding ways to avoid getting crushed to death by much larger humans and other animals. The life of an insect can be quite difficult, and the experience of changing into one gives a person a lesson well learned. On the opposite side of the size spectrum, when a human gets transformed into something much bigger than the average size of a human being, such as an elephant, or one of the largest animals in the world, the blue whale, it can provide another experience as well. Being a very large animal can give the person a sense of power over all the smaller creatures and feeling like nothing can harm him or her. But being a very large animal can present its share of challenges as well. Getting around by walking or swimming at a faster pace can seem convenient, but the person in the form of the animal would need to be aware of their surroundings, not to inflict damage to the environment and to the smaller animals as well. Food can be hard to find, as well as finding the right amount of food to satisfy one's appetite, as his or her large size can be challenging as well. Another challenge of being a very large animal is finding ways to defend yourself from huge herds of animals, attacking and not to be overwhelmed by them as well. The life of a very large animal has its own challenges, with the lesson to give to the person as well. Despite the challenges of being transformed into either very small, very tall, or average size animals, there are ways to have fun as something you weren't born as well. Being able to fly, swim, or breathe underwater gives a great and interesting new experience in getting around, and it would seem much easier than just walking from place to place as a human being. These abilities and others, including running very fast and climbing trees, would allow you to explore new places that you never could do as a human being, and give you a nice change of pace from your everyday life. It could even give you access to secret places, such as sneaking into a pantry of food when you're transformed into a tiny mouse, for instance. Animal transformations are very commonly depicted in movies, TV shows, and books. But what about other kinds of transformations, such as transforming into objects, or even swapping your mind with another person's, becoming another person? Well, I think those are just as important, and I'm a fan of them as well. Being transformed into an object is certainly a much different experience than being an animal or another person. Unlike an animal or a person, an object does not have the ability to move around on its own. Pretty much all an object does is just sits there where it was placed. This can get boring pretty fast for the person who transformed into said object, but being an object can serve a good purpose too. Whenever another person needs an object to complete a task or to help to get him or her out of trouble, the person who became an object can come into play and help to make the situation right or solve a problem. Not to mention that transforming into an object can serve another good purpose, which is to do detective work and spy on others in different situations. Objects may not be lively like animals or humans, but when you're an object, you can serve a purpose as well. Becoming another person by means of swapping your mind with another person or physically changing your appearance to match another person's is another idea has been depicted many times in different forms of media, like movies and TV shows. The best example of this being the movie Freaky Friday, where a mother and daughter who don't get along and their minds get magically swapped into each other's bodies. And throughout the course of the plot of the movie, they gain a more sympathetic understanding of their relationship with each other and become friends in the end. I don't consider myself quite as big of a fan of human beings becoming other human beings as I am of transforming into animals and objects. But this experience holds life-changing lessons for the people who undergo this transformation, I believe. Not only would the person get a chance to live the other person's life and see things through his or her eyes, but I believe it would clear up many misconceptions that the person may have had about the other person. For instance, when a person is considered weird, boring, or otherwise undesirable, a mind-swapping experience could show and teach the other people the way this person thinks and sees things, and find that he or she is very much like other people, just more unique, and not at all weird or any other derogatory word that describes him or her. The person is very much acceptable like everyone else. In conclusion, whether you get transformed into an animal of any kind, an object, or become another person for any length of time, I believe it not only gives you a fun-filled break from the mundane feel of everyday life, but it also offers a valuable learning experience that anyone could take to heart. So I encourage you to use your imagination to transform into anything you want and see where it takes you and what lessons it can offer you as well. I hope you enjoyed my video on transformations. If you have any topics that you would like me to talk about, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Please be sure to comment, share, and subscribe to my channel as well. Have a nice day, everyone, and thank you very much for watching.